Hi guys, this is my first ever YouTube video. I'm just gonna be myself. So right now, I'm eating goldfish, I'm drinking a THC seltzer, and I'm gonna read you poetry because I wrote some poems at the beach today. I microdosed mushrooms. The poetry that I write about, and really most of what this page is gonna be, is me just talking about what I'm passionate about, which is neuroscience and our purpose and divinity and philosophy, and also just being present in your own body and in your own mind and your own soul. Today I really just want to read you a poem that I wrote because it really resonates with me, and I really hope it resonates with you too. And if not, that's okay too. I have a lot of poetry and I have a lot of thoughts, so I'm sure at least one will resonate. How lonely this existence feels when we forget we are divinity, when we forget who we are, when we forget we are all one. We are all lost, all searching for our way, all hoping to be found. What is it all for? I don't know. I have pondered that question for years, since I was a child, really. I believe existence is intentional. Maybe there's freedom in being lost, because when we are lost, we are free. We set barriers and traps for ourselves, limiting our being and our purpose. But what if our purpose is just being? Our purpose is being lost. For years I have asked why I'm here. I'm starting to understand. I'm here to become. Not anyone or anything, but to feel every bit of this existence. Embrace being lost. You are free. When we're children, we don't think so much. We ask questions, sure, at least I did. We're also curious about the world and excited to be a part of it. As we get older, we think too much. The whys and the what ifs, they become a trap because we lock ourselves in this box, feeling and thinking too much to where we all crave escape. We get so distracted by the external that we forget to be, to even just breathe. This existence is supposed to teach us lessons, but we don't realize these lessons come from obstacles we create in our own minds. Your soul is constantly learning, constantly evolving. That's what it's all for. There is nowhere you need to be but the present moment, just like when we were kids. We were always present back then. That's why it was so easy. As adults, we forget to even look up, to stay curious about the world around us. There's so much magic, beauty, soul to this divine existence. That was the end of that poem. And yeah, I think for me, I really like to talk about divinity because I have questioned my purpose here for as long as I can remember. I really think that I'm not sure if I am the only one that questions everything. Since I was little, I have literally asked why about anything and everything. It's like, why? I need to understand the purpose behind most of everything in my life. And so that also applies to my existence, to me, to the purpose of this planet, to the purpose of life, to the purpose of you, of me, of everything. And I've tried to get out of my head and not think about it so much. I really have, but I don't think that's a part of my purpose. I think that me questioning everything is actually a gift. And I think that my awakening and my becoming is a magical thing, and I have really hated my awakening for a long time. I have done psychedelics, okay, and I have done mushrooms. I still do mushrooms. I did them today. I love psychedelic mushrooms. I do them probably once a month. I'll do like a microdose just to like, I wouldn't even say microdose. Oh, that's like a gram. I would say like a low dose trip, where I really just journal. I go somewhere in nature and I connect with everything around me, the all-being, the all-knowing, and this is what I believe to be divinity, is this energy, this light, and I feel so connected to that when I do shrooms. I question existence all the time, and I think my questioning of existence stems directly from depression, like wanting to escape life for so long. Like, I struggled with depression for as long as I can remember, and I've been through a lot in this existence. I feel like a 60-year-old soul a lot of the times. I've also been blessed in so many ways too. You know, there's a very good balance that I've experienced. But I would say that it also is about how you look at things, and this is where I've really started to study neuroscience and neurochemistry, because I've really tried to control my brain so that I can control my life. Because we create our reality through our thoughts, and this is why I got so obsessed with quantum physics and neuroscience, because it made me feel like I finally had control over everything that happens that I don't have control over in my life. It's like this feeling of relief, because I'm like, actually, it's okay that I'm not in control of this universe and what happens around me, but I can control what happens within me. And in controlling what happens within me, in turn, kind of also allows me to have at least a little bit of control over what happens around me. And at least just the understanding of what happens around me too. Because we can get so lost in our sadness and in our pain. At least I did for a long time, and I let that sadness and pain really just take over me. And that's where I wanted to read you another poem, because I wrote this poem, let's see, on 2 weeks ago. Okay, so the poem I just read you, I literally wrote today, and this poem I called Alchemy, and I wrote this April 21st. So it's a little darker, and this is where I was really battling my thoughts and my demons. So this poem is a lot more raw. It goes, I need to sip of my seltzer first. Hold up. Oh, that's so good. Darkness. Darkness. Anyways, here we go. Darkness. It pulls me in. I can hear it calling my name, begging to be seen, to be felt. How can I run from something that's faster than me? Every time I think I outrun it, the darkness shows up again. It's almost like a big black hole of emptiness that I can feel grow like a monster inside of me. Like every time the hole grows, the darkness spreads further into my body, taking over the light within me, eating away at it until I feel nothing. No love, no pain, just nothing. I ask myself daily, how much longer do I need to fight? My exhaustion grows, the days continue, time never stops. Somehow I'm always behind. Another thing I can't outrun, time. My life feels like a never-ending countdown to death, except death is the relief. Death does not scare me. I have embraced dying since I was young, always carrying a feeling that I would not be on earth for very long. So to live every day fully and embrace life for its beauties and wonders. However, lately I haven't been able to feel the beauty, to embrace existence. I just feel trapped, enslaved into a life I never wanted. Life is funny. We don't ask to come into this world. Hell, we don't even consent to it. Yet here we are. You, me, us. How can I be grateful for an existence that doesn't feel like mine? This existence doesn't feel like freedom. It feels like enslavement. How does one break free from the chains of hell constantly pulling and weighing down every last glimmer of light within me? Why does darkness, escape from love, pain, everything, sound so much more peaceful? So much less burdening. The more each day passes, the more I have to fight. My entire life has been fighting for myself to exist in this world, trying to survive the evil. But I've realized now, the darkness within me could never be so persuasive, so heavy, so powerful, if the light within me wasn't in exact, equal, and opposite balance. It is up to me to decide. Good or evil, light or darkness. A game of chess, a game I never wanted to play, which leaves the power in my hands. So how do I win? Become friends with the darkness. Embrace the darkness so I can alchemize it into light, love, meaning. What I had to learn to understand in this long, never-ending game of soul corruption is fighting something bigger than you is not how you overcome it. You must embrace it with no fear. I welcome the darkness. I see it. I acknowledge its presence. Running from it only gives it more power. So instead, I sit with it. I become its friend. I attempt to understand it and I empathize with it. And in doing that, the darkness becomes less dark. Because loving your darkness, your pain, is how we alchemize. Love is the answer. It always has been. Love is how we win. Obviously that sounded really heavy in the beginning, because it was. Because that is me. That is who I am. I am full of darkness, but I am also so full of light. So over the past year, I have focused so much on stillness, on finding that just middle peace ground. And I still felt this just rage within me, and it almost made it worse to try to always to sit with my stillness, because I wasn't acknowledging the dark side. And honestly, this is what I would call your shadow self. You need to acknowledge the parts of you that you hate. You need to acknowledge the darkness. The pain is where we grow the most, because if we take the pain and alchemize it into light through understanding it, through giving yourself a hug, and through allowing yourself to feel it and say, it's okay, I got you. It's like you're taking the light and you're balancing the darkness with your light. And this is where we can overcome the darkness. And so I'm actively practicing this all the time. I have to, because if I don't, I let my thoughts spiral. I'm not suicidal. Let me just say that. I would never kill myself, because I believe that I would have to just reincarnate again into a new existence. And I wouldn't even have all of this knowledge into my new existence. Would have to learn the lessons again. Like, I'm good on that part, you know? So I'm gonna stick it out. But my point is, like, there is balance for everything in this life. Everything. Like, when I was looking out at the ocean today, it's crazy because I'm just staring out. I'm kind of like slanted on the ground, and I realized that the sky looks exactly like the water. And in my head, I'm thinking, as above, so below. Because literally, as above, so below. The sky and the water looked the exact same. It was crazy. Like, the clouds in the sky represented the land. It was so cool. And then I thought about the phrase, as above, so below, but it also goes, as within, so without. So this is where I'm talking about us. As within, so without. Like, what we create in our minds and who we embody, the existence that we embody, is what is created outside of us. And this is proven in quantum physics, which is also another subject that I am absolutely obsessed with, because it just proves everything that I'm saying. And because I've asked why my entire life, I literally need evidence for almost everything that I talk about. Like, I need an explanation. And so I have found so many explanations in all of these beliefs that I have through science. And that's where it's just so cool, because like, that for me gives me my purpose. It allows me to sit back and be the observer to my life. I also am in control of my life, but to more so observe the things in my life that I can't control, and my reactions. I sit back as an observer to myself so that I can explore why I react the way that I do, and how I can become better, and how I can make sure that I'm treating the people around me with love and care and respect always, even if I am sitting with a reaction that I don't like, that I don't want to experience, like anger or sadness. Like, instead of screaming at someone, it's like me taking a backseat to my emotion and observing my emotion so that I can understand it. Because I think mind, body, spirit are separate for a reason. Our brains really play a lot of tricks on us because we have an ego. And it really can take us out of the present moment a lot of times, and we love doing things that distract us from stillness and from boredom, because a lot of us have been programmed and trained to never be still and to never be bored. And I think a lot of that honestly goes into just like the matrix of it all. I think that the energy, spiritual warfare that's going on can only be won through love and through vibrating to our highest frequency possible as a collective consciousness. Love is the answer, and love is how we can alchemize all of our pain into light. And I think that's what the whole purpose of all religious texts really goes into, in God. And God to me, and I believe in a creator, but I don't really believe in a creator that's this mythological man in the sky. It's more so like light energy, high vibrational, high frequency energy, and I think like the highest vibration, the highest frequency is the energy of creation, and I think that that energy is something that we can embody on Earth. And I think it's almost like we wake up to this understanding, to this realization of all of everything I just talked about, because a lot of people have had this awakening experience where they know exactly everything that I'm saying right now. I think we wake up to remember that our existence is intentional and that we chose the lives that we have for a reason. The hardships that we deal with are intentional. They are meant to help us as souls grow. And I think that's where I love what they call it the Earth School. In the book The Journey of Souls by Michael Newton, I can talk about that book too for another video, but I love that book so much because he's a hypnosis therapist that puts a bunch of people, it's just a case studies book where he puts a bunch of people under hypnosis that went through near-death experiences, and they all have the same experience when they die, where they like float as energy above their bodies. They see their bodies are just their bodies and that they are not their bodies, but they are energy that is within them, and they all get kind of met with this soul guide, they called it, and it was someone that they recognized in their past life, someone that made them feel really safe and comfortable, that takes them to this what they call a life review with your creator, the creator, but they just described it as this divine light. And I think, I'm not saying that I believe every single thing about this, but I do feel like there is a lot of accuracy to multiple people having the same exact experience separately. Like that's what's crazy to me, you know. It's hard to not believe that, but they watch their lives happen, like in this life review with their creator. They watch their lives that they just experienced, and in this watch they are experiencing the life they had from every point of view that of people that were close to them in their life, or people that they connected with in their life. Like just experience life from a oneness perspective instead of a separate perspective. And this is where it's really cool because it really shows how we are all one, and our egos are what separate us. Like we think we're divided because like we have different bodies, but like no, we're all made of energy, and we're all one with the trees, with each other, with this glass of THC drink, which I'm gonna have more of. After they experience their life from every perspective, the creator basically says, all right, so you learned these lessons as a soul, and we're gonna go through I'm feeling the seltzer. I'm like losing my train of thought a little bit. He's like, we're gonna send you back down to Earth School, and these are the lessons that you're gonna learn this time. And they literally said in this book, all of them said that they laid out their lives with their creator. Like they chose the lives that they were going to experience next, because they knew that the hardships that they had and the great parts too were going to shape them as souls. This is where it's crazy, because if you really think about divinity, like this divine soul that literally never can die, it's like, okay, well that makes so much sense why we would come to Earth to experience this temporary life, because it's to learn. Like we have divinity, we don't just have this life, it's several. And I think that we come back to Earth a lot, I think that we reincarnate a lot, and I think it's constant learning, constant experience. Because like, yeah, our divine energetic soul would love to learn how to surf in a physical body, but unfortunately a soul can't surf in as light, right? So you manifest into a body so that you can experience a physical existence in a three-dimensional realm. And this is where quantum physics comes in, because we exist in a three-dimensional realm. But there are multiple dimensions. There's a fourth dimensional realm, there's a fifth dimensional realm, and this is where I think it's the zoom out effect of life. And so we only see with our eyes, this is a fact, less than 1% of everything that's physically in front of us and around us, okay? That's fucking crazy. And that just goes to show, if we're in the 3D where we just see the body, you know, we see the three-dimensional aspect of everything in this life. I made this page because I really want to just talk about this stuff. I want to share my poetry. I want to share my art, you know, and I also just really want to connect with people around me, and other people that are experiencing this painful but amazing and beautiful existence in the same way that I am, and maybe I can be of some guidance to those that are feeling lost too. And I think that also you guys can be in some guidance to me, because I am lost. As I read you in my poem, I feel lost all the time, and I think that there's a lot of freedom in being lost, because we can then be found, you know? Like, I think you have to be lost in order to ever really understand who you are. And so in this being lost feeling I have right now, I am embracing it, and I am embracing all of it. I'm not running from it anymore. I am sitting with it, and I'm feeling it, and I'm talking about it like I am with you guys right now. And so yeah, before I close out, I do want to read you the last of what I wrote at the end of my trip, because it was very insightful, and it really felt like my hand was just going, and I had like this download of almost like the creator or divinity or the universe, whatever you believe to be God, I guess, was like speaking through me. It didn't feel like my voice, because when I read it back, it's not me. It's almost like source. So I wrote, the key to feeling happier in life right now is nourishment of mind, body, and soul. Escaping goes against all three, because I tend to love to escape in external distractions quite often. It is probably my biggest downfall in this existence. You must be present to find yourself. You're never alone, Sydney. Like, who? I'm talking to myself. I'm saying somebody downloaded into me, all right? Anyways, you are one with everything. It's impossible to be alone in this existence. It is only your ego that makes you believe we are separate. There is so much comfort in knowing you are one with the divine creator. There is so much love in this life, in this existence, so much hope for light to overcome the darkness. It already is. Children are that light, and they are the embodiment of the divine. And I think that I don't really know why. I said that because I saw all the little kids running up and down the beach, and it made my heart so happy to see pure light, just pure light and pure presence. You don't see that often anymore, you know? And then I said, to be divine is to be present, love, light, oneness, wholeness, creativity, pure, joy, excitement, change, everything. We are the embodiment of this. We just forget until we remember. And then it's up to us to choose the paths we create for ourselves. So what is my intention moving forward for my being? Not escaping and feeling every bit of this existence. And so that's what I'm dedicating to you guys, is feeling every bit of this existence, and we're gonna feel it together. I love you guys. Thank you for listening.